7 o'clock, I'm going to call a meeting to order, and if you haven't had a chance to read those minutes, please do that. And then I'll be looking for a motion.
I should have cleaned my glasses a lot earlier today.
Sometimes I look at mine and wonder how I can see.
You starting yet?
Yes. Minutes.
I'll check them and make sure they have the dates on them from now on. I didn't realize she put some dates on it. Good picture of paper. I don't use those.
Was I here or wasn't I?
Says you were not.
No, you're.
This one says this, but this one says you were.
Yeah. this
I fixed it.
One version says I was here. and
I
one
realized
says-
you were here. You seconded the motion to. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I thought, you must have been here.
All right, is there a motion out there?
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Additions, corrections? We have a couple of corrections, I believe.
Yeah.
The section, I think, where begins with Dan Archibald, Pine Ridge Campground, I believe the address is 384 H Road. And not
Oh,
plain
yeah,
Yeah,
that's their
home
home
address.
address.
Okay. And then the other correction I spotted is on the second page where, under other, and it says that the next meeting will be held July 12th, and I'm saying that that meeting really will be July 19th.
Yes.
The third
third.
Thursday of the month.
Yeah.
Which it always is. Any other additions or corrections?
And then just above there, just that 8 got in there under code enforcement, at the very end of the board. Just, Number 8.
Number 8,
Yeah,
just
got snuck in there.
housekeeping.
Yeah.
Where are you?
The 8 board,
Gotcha, yeah.
housekeeping.
Anything else? All right, all those in favor? Okay, that's fine, okay, good. All right, moving on, old business. We're to the Arnie Martell section, and good to see you back.
Thank you. Sorry for the delay, I get a little problem over the winter time, so I disappeared for a minute.
I'll get the chair.
Looks like some of you disappeared too. Looks like you lost some weight.
Yeah. Never got sick in my life, and never smoked a cigarette, and I got throat cancer. Spent 5 months in Boston Hospital.
Oh dear.
So I apologize not coming right back, because I started this. I called Ken in the springtime, let him know what happened, so I just didn't want you guys to think I was just,
Well, we're glad to see you again
Glad
now.
you're back, yeah.
thanks, I was in the hospital all day yesterday too, so I drove up here for this meeting. I'm not supposed to be out, but I still can't believe I even got this. Yeah, well, wait till the wife gets home and finds out. That's the biggest problem I have.
We're with you with the hospitals and escaping, but the other, you're on your own.
Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah.
Okay, Arnie, if I can, going back when we last saw you,
Yep.
it seems to me, if I remember correctly, we had maybe 3 proposals, one of which at the end of the night we pretty much had thrown out, number 3, I believe.
Yep.
So I think we were down to 2 possible proposals that were presented, and then the potential for a third one came up in the discussion. Now, I'm not sure if that's where you guys are at, or if you guys have moved on from there to something different, and if you have, then let us know.
Yes, and I'm Brad Jones, I'm with Jones and Beach Engineers, and yeah, we did look at the regulations, and the regulations do require that if you have road frontage, it's supposed to be a conventional lot, 250 feet of frontage, 2-acre lots. So we did decide to do this layout with the exception that Arnie's left like a buffer in between each lot, and he's actually going to leave those wooded trees. So it's kind of the same thing as kind of an open space. He's actually going to, you know, do that cutting and take care of that prior to selling the lots. And then there'll be some kind of, whether you put a restriction on that lot or not. But so that's what we have today. It's 6 lots. They're all 2-acre lots. The 7th lot is the remaining land, and that is 29.08 acres. And they all have at least 250 feet of frontage, and you know, so that's what we're looking at here. Yeah.
So was there talk of making a road with the end of, is that where we left off, of looking into, like, connecting right there?
Dropping down and going through, and
If
that
we
never materialized.
If we did that, it would have to go back. We couldn't just really come off a Buzzell on the curve with the grades, so we would probably have to go way back in, you know, into that lot. So I think we had discussed it, and I think there was going to be some discussion with the owners at Langley Shore. I don't know if that ever happened.
Actually, my husband's the treasurer of
Yep.
Langley Shores, and I spoke with 2 of the officers, the president and the treasurer,
Okay.
plus several other residents, year-round residents. And the consensus is that that's not something that they're interested in because they don't want the extra expense. We are getting ready to have our association meeting though at the end of July.
Oh, really? That late? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanted to come and talk to them, that, you know, I could let them know, but
Yeah, and I think
I didn't,
No, I was just trying to do it as a good guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I haven't heard from anybody. I checked my messages when I could over the winter time. Once again, I was tied up, but even at the office, I never heard from her, so I figured between yourself that they weren't interested, so I just left it alone, you know?
yeah, they just don't think that the extra cost of plowing and maintenance
Okay.
during the,
Sure.
throughout the year would offset the couple of houses
Yep.
that would be paying dues.
Sure, that's okay.
so. I'll say that the way we have it set up probably makes that less possible, you know, because of we like I say, we would have come up into those lots and ran that along the contour of the land a little bit. So,
Yeah.
but
So, it's Brad, right?
Brad,
So
yep.
Brad, what you are proposing is most similar to the
Yes.
original number 2?
It is. Let me see. Is that no? You have all 3 here.
I do.
It'd be kind of similar to number 3. Those are 2 acres. No. Number 1.
Number 1, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But not exactly.
No, no,
Okay,
we
there are
did
changes.
submit plans, we have plans that
Okay.
show the layout. It pretty much starts on the, let's say the southerly side of Buzzell Road. And we went 250 feet, 2 acres, 250 feet, 2 acres, right down Buzzell Road. Till we came to the last lot, and then we just left that with all the remaining land, for the last parcels.
Oh, yeah, it's been pushed back this way.
Yep.
I see. Before we were all the way up to the curve, and here we're back off of it.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And Greg, could you briefly fill us in on what are the proposals for the use of the open space?
Right now, that is just remaining land, so that all becomes part of the 7th lot. in the future, if any, that could be divided again and made into open space. But right then now, that's, because these are conventional lots, so there is no open space. And I will say, like, development-wise, it's be very hard to develop anything down there, so it somewhat remains as an open space, just because of the restrictions of the property when you get down to the bottom.
What is that legend that has, that's encompassed on the north by that long stretch of stone wall? And then south of that stone wall, there's some areas that are marked with symbols.
Yeah, that's the wetlands.
Is that what you refer to as zone C? In note 4? Under notes number 4?
Yes, yeah, that is correct, yeah.
So all with the little, what is it, like a bush symbol or something? Like a
Well, it's
like
actually,
the dot kind of?
yeah, that's wetlands, but there is a note for, I think it's a floodplain note that,
Yeah.
a portion of this property is in the floodplain.
So it's just a portion of those wetlands
Yeah, small portions, not all the wetlands.
is it designated on this map?
No, it's on the FEMA maps. What we do when we go through, somebody went through and noted it on the maps. But it does not affect any of these properties. They're all out of the flood.
I think the only floodplain I have is going to be on his other lot.
And I'm wondering if that was a carry through on the,
Yeah.
because we did a full boundary
Yeah.
on both parcels, so that note probably carried through, so.
So this is the
I'd agree with
proposed
that.
area for the subdivision. This would be the wet area down through here. It comes down through that saddle and down through here. And this is the, what FEMA would determine as flood zone.
So it looks like, what is it, lot number 1
Yes.
has some, is that resource protection in the back of the lot? Is that what,
Is that what that is?
It is not, no,
it's just a wetland?
it's just a wetland. yeah.
Just,
As far as way down by the boundary line, Gavin?
No, other corner of
the
the,
other
Oh, the
corner.
other lot.
over here. I'm wondering what that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a wetland under 2 acres? So-
Yeah, it's actually 0.34 acres of the lot is wet, for lot 1. And that's the only lot that has wetlands on it, well, except for the remaining land, of course, but. So if you look at the title, where it discusses a lot, it gives you the upland area and the wetland area.
Can you put resource protection over that, Ken?
Resources on.
Oh, it's on, okay, so that's just, it's a wetland, it's not in resource protection.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There it is, Gavin.
Okay. How about the wetland buffer by distance, is it,
That would be automatically on, but
yeah, so it's under 2 acres.
so it's under 2 acres then?
Guess so, looks pretty. Something to it.
So, Brad, is there a proposal in the
Yes.
notes or in the
Yeah,
mind?
okay.
less than an acre.
Yeah.
These lots would be somehow or other provided shore frontage through some language?
Not at this point. This property does not have any shore frontage.
Okay. So
So
there's no plan for a dock with common usage of lots?
there is not on this property right here.
Okay. Well, no, I know it wouldn't be on this property because this property has no...
No, I mean for rights
Okay.
for this property.
We've talked quite a bit about when you grant rights, it's a full-size lot and then 25 feet each time you give the rights up, so during our discussion, it didn't seem like they wanted to lose their waterfront for these lots and they're going to save it for lot 29. There's a couple of waivers you were asking for. High-intensity soil. One.
I do have an update for that. Ken, just so I added the last one.
The monument, yeah.
Brad, I'm looking at Buzzell Road,
Yes,
and I'm all the way to the curve,
yep.
and I see a little block that says land to be deeded to the town of Acton. And are we referring to the edge of the road, or are we referring to that last piece of property?
Yeah, so back in 1893, go back a little ways.
Oh, that's cool.
There was a town meeting, and at that point they designated Buzzell Road as a two-rod road, which is 33 feet. So if you look at the back side of Buzzell, you see like a stone wall. That is the back of that 33 feet. If you go 33 feet, actually the road is on Arnie's property, just because over the years that got built out. So what we're doing is almost 0.56 acres, or maybe 0.56. We would deed that back to the town, and that would give you guys 25 feet to the center of that right of way, so the road would not encroach. Your road would be within the right of way. So that's just a courtesy thing that you're supposed to do when you. So that's what that's about, and that would be part of the recorded plan, and that would get deeded back to town. And I don't know, Ken, does that have to get discussed with the select?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring that up with the selectmen to
Okay,
see.
perfect.
It basically is allowing them to now ditch the property and use it to expand the town right away out to, would that bring it to 50 feet?
I don't know if it'll be exactly, it'll be 25 from center.
On your side at
Yeah.
least. Yeah, so that's gonna be a big difference.
Yep.
So the total would be 50,
Yeah.
both sides.
Well, right now it's
If it's-
33,
Yeah.
and I'd have to go see if he actually came back full 50 from the,
40, yeah, it's gonna be 40 something.
yeah.
47.
It'd be easier to do it now than trying to deal with 7 different people.
Yeah. And it'll be a lot more than they have now, for sure.
Jump in, anybody, if you have a question or a comment.
This road denoted as a logging road, or?
No, it's just an old gravel road that the farmer had. They'd own the whole 2 parcels,
Yeah.
90 plus acres that he owned, that I own in there now. There's 2 roads up through the woods that the guy used.
Yeah.
I did have a question. I was trying to figure out that 911 address,
Yep,
right?
I can work with you on that.
All right, so, because I don't think across the street it conforms to
The numbering.
yeah, because it's, it's too close together, so.
Are the driveways flagged yet, center driveways?
I do have them on the A2.
Yeah, if you flag them
We could flag them out on the property.
on the property, and then we
Yeah.
can come up with all the numbers and put them right on the plan, and then,
Okay.
like I said, as long as they're in that general area, not moving, if we give somebody a number and we don't move it ahead of somebody else on the other side, then we'll be all set.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I found by looking at the addresses. You're gonna bump the number.
Yeah,
One side will be thousands, the other side will be
in the hundreds.
250.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but anyways, so we can figure that out. So we didn't put any of that
Yeah.
information to determine how to calculate that. So you'd like, what, just 2 stakes right now with a
One center line of
one
driveway
center line
would be
divided
about
by-
times 7.
I think you kind of painted it, but we can check
They
that.
painted them on the road already.
Yep, that works.
That'll work? Okay,
The
simple.
center line,
Right now I put the edges,
the edges.
with a curve, but I could do a center line, maybe in a blue paint or something. How's that?
Keep it simple.
Okay.
Does the board feel they need to do a site walk? Last we talked, he kind of had things and we were gonna drive by at a chance, or?
We kind of have to do something,
Yeah.
right?
Because of the, because of the,
Conditional use permit or.
There's gonna be
It's a
It's a subdivision, but
subdivision.
I think it says if the board chooses.
Oh, for
on a lot of
subdivision, it's
it.
optional.
But, yeah, we can find time for it.
I think we did one the last one.
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, yeah, I think we should do it.
Give Joyce a chance to use her new pants.
Yes, thanks.
Good doing what? Okay.
Tick
I'll
repellent
play the tape
quotes.
then. Okay.
You're gonna need it up there.
Oh, yesterday, between Tom and I, and there were
I had-
seven.
I
You had
had 2 ticks.
two, three.
Try it first.
So there were 7 between
Would
us.
you buy new tick pants?
Yes.
What's the trick here? Turn me on.
LL Bean, spend the money.
All right, so what do we have? What do we have for a date? You want to pick one? You looking at yours?
Yep.
It's like the third Thursday in July before the meeting, or?
Not good for the,
I'll be away, but
Or we can, oh, yeah.
Oh,
But-
when are you away?
like the last, or the 12th through the 22nd or something, so don't do it around me.
That's kind of. You're gone.
Yeah.
11 to 12. What about the 11th? Did anybody strike the 11th out?
Is it the Wednesday?
That's a Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, actually I'm probably leaving that night,
So the 12th is the 11th.
depending on if we're parked.
how about the rest of us?
The 11th?
Hmm.
That's good.
Or we could push it one day earlier to Tuesday the 10th at 6 o'clock if you really want to make it.
We could do that.
Yoli's packing.
We're out there.
Right. Well,
Rage
Uh-huh.
packing.
try to.
1, 2, 3, 7.
What do I do?
I know.
What do you think, Ken, on the 10th,
10th,
10th, Tuesday?
Tuesday?
yeah.
July 10th.
Can we do 5, or do we want to, do we have to go later?
I can do whatever. What can you do, Yoli? How
6.
about everybody else?
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I can do anything.
I can be back from Boston by 6.
Do we have a
I'm gonna
name
be
for
in
this?
Boston that day too.
What's
I'll
that?
have
On the 10th? Yeah.
I'm
I'll
calling
be
it the Buzzell Road subdivision unless you want to.
Yeah, that's what I have written on everything too.
So what are we gonna do, Bob?
All right,
No, thanks guys.
so that's at 6 o'clock.
Trees, so it should be no rain this evening.
July
Oh, yeah, he
10th.
always does.
That's what it should be.
On the 10th?
Tuesday the 10th at 6 o'clock. Everybody good with that?
Yep,
One last time?
Thank you.
Lock
July
it in.
10th, Tuesday, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
yep.
Christina will send something out to us
We'll get it right this time.
At Bezel Road.
at Buzzell Road.
Okay, I'll be there.
My spell check calls it Buzzard Road.
That's what I just got.
And that's what.
I mean, I've been out there, and it's just, you know, you make the turn onto there, and it's just the line, they line
Yes,
right up
yeah.
kind of a deal.
Or
So it's not
I
really-
got every lot staked out. I'm, with Ken's permission, I told him, I'm up there, you know, doing some tree work and stuff and cutting a lot of dead trees out. So I'm just spending time up there as much as I can, when I can. But, so by the time we go up there, we should have some more, all the lots hopefully be cut out.
Mhm.
Whether you approve it or not, I'm still gonna make it grass. I'm gonna make it real nice. Each lot's gonna be grass, so, so it'll be easier to walk around and be able to visualize instead of walking through the woods.
Good.
So you might not need tick spray. I don't know.
Do you guys want to run through your waivers and see how the board?
Sure. So we had, the first waiver was a high-intensity soil survey. And the fact that they're 2-acre lots, and we have very limited wetlands, I don't think this, normally we would do this to look at leach fields and septic and make sure you've got viable land that you could put a leach field on. We did do two test pits on every lot, a third test pit if we needed it. So we have proven the lots that way. So that was a reason to waive the high intensity soil. That's Article 6, item D. There was another item, Article 10.9, item 1, which is hydrological assessment.
Do you have a page on that one?
I don't.
Article 10.
Article 10.9, item 1.
10.9, hydrological assessment is submitted. The assessment shall contain at least the following information. Is that the one you're talking about?
That's correct, yep.
A map showing the basic soil types, the depth of the water table, drainage conditions throughout the subdivision, data on the existing groundwater quality, analysis, valuation of the effect of the subdivision on the groundwater, and a map showing the location of any subsurface wastewater disposal systems.
I mean, we do have, our plan shows houses across the street, and we show our designated location of where we would put our subsurface systems. We really don't have any abutting properties that are close by that would come into contention with that, you know, so that was the rationale with that. And these two items were underneath items that could be, be granted a waiver. So.
And page 17.
We're looking at map number 2.
Sure.
We got the bullseye looking circles, is that around the well?
That's a well rated, 100 foot.
Yeah, 100 foot around the well, and then are the septic's marked on the,
They're
one here?
the hatched area, yep.
So some of them are in the front and one's in the back?
Yeah, for the large lot, it's in behind the lot. And
Well,
that's,
I'm looking at three,
Yeah,
lot 3.
3.
yeah, that's down low, yep. Down the lower end of the lot.
Was that based on the soils assessments, or?
We were just trying to keep that away from the well radius the best. I did provide test pits with the application. That lot has 2 test pits, so both of those are viable for a septic. We could put the septic up above, we just have to move the well.
Which lot were you on, Gavin?
I was looking at lot 3,
Lot
just because
three,
it doesn't, I remember in the last one, we had all the septics in the front, wells in the back, or vice versa. I think it was septics in the front, I don't know. It was one or the other, they were all kind of lined up. And I just noticed the one was kind of out of sync. I was just looking at it.
Yeah, and that can be rearranged. I mean, what the next step would be that each lot would decide where they're going to build and do a septic design, and at that point you'd rearrange that well radius and your septic and make it fit on that lot in some fashion, you know.
I think you're gonna put building envelopes on the lots in the design, or?
If you see that dotted line,
Oh, that's your building envelope.
that's your building envelope, your
Okay.
setback.
Pretty big.
We're back
Yeah.
on the front page, correct?
Yeah.
A2.
Either one is dotted.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
they got them both on there.
Okay.
I don't know when we've done a subdivision that wasn't a cluster, so we're not,
We're not so concerned because they're 2-acre lots, you're saying?
well, that and we're just not used to the bigger lots. More than,
Yeah.
quite often, we're looking for the well exclusion zones and
Sure.
everything.
Yeah.
Nothing's moving at that point. It's all laid out and,
Yeah, we should be able to fit all the wells on the property, so the well radius, you won't have easements and that type of thing,
Mhm.
which you would in a cluster.
Right.
do you plan on developing these yourself or selling the lots? Little of both, or?
Maybe a little both right now,
Yeah.
but it's not etched in stone. I know my brother's getting a lot, he's gonna build his own house.
Yeah, but usually if the developer's in charge, he can at least be thinking, while I'm doing the septic and well here, I'm
Right.
also concerned about the next one versus if they're all just sold and everyone's.
Well, we're based as, that's what I've done, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm more or less leaning this way, moving up this way more often, but based on, with my name on, my reputation and my name on this plan, no matter who buys a lot, I will be there to babysit it, because I know people can get carried away. So, just to make it so it's presentable, it looks nice, and it all fits in, so a lot of people, they ain't in the business, and it's easy to have a little guidance up front, so, and I want it to come out nice too, so.
Brad or Arnie.
Yep.
What are the, what kind of language do you have or are proposing pertaining to the open space? I mean,
Once again, that's, that is part of the last lot, so it's not open space.
the.
7th lot.
So that's the
ninth-
7th lot.
This one in the north east corner, you mean?
Yeah, that's gonna be a single lot. It is gonna be 29.06 acres.
Which is basically the remainder.
Oh, I see. I
Yeah,
see.
so that's
The
just-
next section that you come back for, when we do this other big parcel, that becomes part of that parcel.
That's correct. We would go back, probably strike a line
Okay.
in behind these lots, and that could become open space, absolutely, yeah.
Gotcha.
So you'd have a right of way in this area here, is that?
Well, actually, we would probably would still have a lot, like whoever purchased this lot could build right now, and then
Okay.
it would be the understanding that someday that there could be a lot line behind them.
Okay.
Or maybe it doesn't get built on it, but so I would say if this becomes open space, it would probably be one more lot,
Yeah.
which is not really a new lot, it's a lot line adjustment, if you will.
Right.
Because it would already be situated with a well, a septic area.
The lot would come here and then the remaining
Yeah.
land would just, this line here would be erased.
That's right.
And you'd create something up in here.
Which line can you erase?
This one here,
Gotcha, yeah.
and then you'd create something over here.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
That's right.
And the new lot line would be behind those 7 lots, say,
Yeah.
along the back, that would be the new lot line.
Mhm. Okay. All right, so those are the two waivers that you're looking for.
Then there's 1/3 waiver, which was the monuments. There's a combination of iron pins and granite bounds allowed. This is item 10.2, item D. And we'd like to, with the size of the property, be able to put in iron pins. It's more just a little easier to set the pins back. We use like a 5/8 inch rebar with a cap on it for the iron pins. So if that's something the board would entertain, that would help my surveys to have to lug a 4x4 bound down to the bottom of the hill.
Get your GPS coordinates on those?
No, we could provide that if you'd like, but right now it's all based on bearing and distance. So the math that you see in this plan would be how it's, does the town can require a GPS point like some towns
I don't
want to
know.
have a bound that's got bearing in northing and eastings in an elevation, and we could provide that. I don't have a problem if that's something that, because a lot of times that's to tie in another subdivision, then you know exactly the location and exact elevation. It's almost like a benchmark for you.
I would think we have some fellows that we regularly see, surveyors, that I think would appreciate that. As well as, I understand the reluctance to go the route of a granite, little monument stone, but I think the GPS would probably be a more useful bit of data.
So we could put, do I hear you saying maybe up in this upper corner, can we put a granite bound with northing and eastings and elevation and have that the one per
Right in that
bound?
corner. I
Yeah,
was thinking
it could
that,
go
I didn't say
anywhere,
it,
but
But I was thinking that,
Yeah.
that for right there and then
yeah,
all your rebar off after that.
yeah, and then that could be, and that would be useful for somebody else. So we have all GPS equipment and robotic equipment, so we could get the exact elevation of that
Yeah.
and have that, I mean, this is based on exact elevations, but we could set that up, yeah. Yeah, that's not a problem.
That's gonna be at the corner of lot 1.
Yeah, corner of lot 1, the very beginning of it,
Okay.
street side.
And I had one other quick question, not dealing with waivers so much as in the southeast corner, which would be lot 3-1. You with me?
Yes, I am, yep.
It would be the southernmost lot along the road.
Okay.
There's this stipulation that the lot is comprised of 1/3 of an acre of wetland and 1.67 acres of upland.
That is correct, yeah.
And I think we have a provision whereby you can't utilize that bit of wetland to supplement your 2 acre, where you're coming up short with the 1.67.
I know the land below a road or below the water, you couldn't. I didn't,
Yeah, I didn't really see that in the...
I guess because it's not town resource protection. Don.
Right.
Oh, that's that little,
It's just wetland,
It's
less
just
under
wetland.
2 acres.
less than 2 acres.
I think it's more poor soil than actual wetland. or-
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's less than 2 acres too, so,
Well, the little point that Ken brought up
Yeah.
on the map was less than 2, but the general wetland that they have depicted on the map is got some
Oh, yeah.
substance to
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah,
what the
not-
character is, we're not exactly sure.
the poor
Right.
soils.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely the soils. It's pretty high grass, about a foot up of grass.
yeah.
All right, so we're come back to the waivers then. Want to take them one at a time, or you want to take them, better for you? Okay. Any comments, questions? Is there a motion out there to allow the waiver number 1, the high-intensity soil survey?
It might be good to do the site walk first, just to, it might be good to do the site walk first, just to see this site number 1, or lot number 3, and 3-1, that Tom was pointing out. It might not hurt to see that lot before we granted the waiver, so to speak.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, we're only talking one more meeting for us.
Yeah.
The 17th, we can still come back and grant the waivers, or run into problems and look at it.
But I mean, they do have the 2 test pits per site that show good soil, so.
So are you hesitant then about that, about waiting, or is that what you mean?
Well, I mean, it's always, it's not like we wouldn't grant the waiver.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd
And
wanna
it's not
look
gonna
at it
matter
first.
really if we wait
It,
until after, in your minds. is
the
it?
only thing, it is quite a bit of work to do that. You know, we have to have somebody go out and cover. One part of high-intensity soils is to do test pits, which we have done, but you would have to go back through and do a soils mapping of that property, so it could take a couple of weeks, and it would just delay the time frame. That's all. So
Mhm.
that would be my only concern with
Mhm.
with waiting. And like I said, I do. Ken, you do have a copy of all the test pits
Yeah,
that we did, and so I don't know. I mean, that would be my only. So my preference would be to vote on it tonight, but
Yeah.
and I don't know. I mean, when you go out on the site, when you get down, I mean, these wetlands are not. You're not going to go up to your knees in the mud. It's it just turns a little wet down the bottom. It's not. I mean, these are on a slope. As you can see, it's graded. It's still graded in there.
In the middle of July, it probably really dries the bones.
It
Yeah,
probably
it's
dries,
dry now.
dries right up. Yeah. So
Like, it's mainly vegetation.
Move forward then.
That whole area is just high grass,
and to have most of these lots have no wetlands, and that's pretty good. I mean, to have uplands for an entire lot like that.
Mhm. I mean, I'm sensitive to what Gavin's saying.
Yep.
What does everybody else think?
Can I interject for a minute? If you look in the zoning ordinance book, page 37, item 4226, I'm just curious, I'm not sure what this pertains to. With that little segment of so-called wetland, is it actually RP district, or agreed, it's less than 2 acres and there's no buffer, but does that negate the nature of the lot not legally called resource protection? You with me? Because it's less than 2 acres, the buffer is not applicable. But does that remove the identification of that bit of land as RP?
that's how it's mapped. It's greater than 2 acres. You're on 4223.
4226,
4226.
right?
4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Start it.
4224. It's what I'm reading.
There. It says 2 or more,
Yeah.
and it is 2?
Okay,
No,
so
it's 1
that's,
acre, it's 1 acre.
that's spelling out the criteria that even
It's
though
not actually.
it's,
Oh, right.
it being less than 2 contiguous acres, it does not qualify for it. Oh, okay,
Right,
okay.
right.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we waive the high-intensity soil survey unless Ken has any.
No, I was just looking in the ordinance, I think tonight we're supposed to vote on the waivers so they have direction at least,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I'll second his motion.
Comments, questions? All those in favor then of waiving the soil? All passed 5-0, okay, good. About the second one, the hydrogeologic assessments, which was, I believe, 10.2 something, on page
10.9,
37.
I think he said 10.9.
Yeah, you got the pages record.
Give me that page, Jen.
10.9, okay.
Page?
37.
You folks have any sense of the availability of groundwater there? In terms of, have you done any monitoring well or anything anywhere there? Just to let us know that you have adequate water.
No, there is a well on the adjoining property, and there's a well on below lot 1 that's already set. You mean just to see if there's water available? Yeah. So I mean, those 2 wells, do you know how deep your well is for the?
700, the new one I just put in,
Yeah.
there's 2 of them, there's one 650 and the other one's 700, 720 I think the new
Okay.
one is. I put in
Pretty deep.
now.
And because you're up on top of it?
Yeah, it's pretty land, you'll see when you go up for the meeting, it's just, we're up on a hill up there.
How about across the street, any ideas about where their wells are?
Yeah, some of them are in the front, some of them are in
Yeah.
the back. I met a few other people, once again, I knocked on their doors, and, just introduced myself, gave my card in case they had any questions about any complaints, anything at all, and,
Sure.
and we're just talking, and they pretty much like the idea, because I think it's gonna bring the value of their houses up, so they sort of like it. But they don't have any issues, because I was picking their brain a little bit too, just to get some ideas, and yeah, it's all good.
Do you, in the submissions you've given to Kenny this evening or recently, is there paperwork pertaining to that?
Yeah, we haven't gone out, you mean the wells across the street?
Well, just to sustain the idea that you do have adequate water for residential uses and the application of the sprinkler systems.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't checked I don't know if, does Maine keep a
Yeah.
record of wells? So is that something you get on a website?
A lot of it you can.
Okay, so I mean, we could definitely look at the well depths, if it's something online like that.
Probably Maine Geological Survey.
And I assume they all have wells and they're all working. But I mean, we could definitely get more data on that if that's available online.
All right then, anybody else?
Just wonder, just a little bit clarification on 10.9E. Says an analysis and evaluation of the effect of the subdivision on groundwater resources. In the case of residential developments, the evaluation shall, at a minimum, include a projection of a post-development nitrate, nitrogen concentration of any wells within the subdivision or at the subdivision boundaries, or at a distance of 1,000 feet from any potential contamination sources. That was the part that kind of drew my attention. What will be a contamination source, and is the lake 1,000 feet from the subdivision?
I would think it's
Concentrations.
kind of 8,000.
Okay, so it's over 1,000.
It's over
So even
1,000.
if we come from the back of the lot,
Yeah,
it's
because
still-
Well, still, then, yeah.
Yeah.
So you okay with that part then, Gavin?
You okay with that one?
Yeah, I'm still reading through this
Yep, yep, okay.
standards again.
Arnie, do you recall what kind of yield you got out of this mineral well?
No.
Yeah.
Do you do any irrigation with it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, there's plenty of water where I am right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm pretty high.
He is, so if he's using it for irrigation, that usually,
Yeah, I was gonna go a couple hundred feet around my own house, you know.
Yeah. You already hit me, where is your own house on this? It wouldn't show up on this map. Because it's,
I guess Ken could show you on the.
So here's the schoolhouse right here. Right there's the schoolhouse.
Mhm.
This is the subdivision.
Mhm.
okay, I'm
So
with
back
you.
to the schoolhouse. This is the subdivision.
Yeah.
Keep coming up the hill, turn into the peak of the hill right here. His house is right there.
Okay.
It was 50 gallons a minute, if I remember. It wasn't too bad
Pretty good
considering.
yield, yeah.
I know,
Not too bad.
I know it was expensive, but it was expensive, and I did give you the number for that.
That might have been a reason they went deep to try to get more water.
Yeah.
All right then, guys. Anybody want to go forward with a motion? You want to,
Where's the paper?
Gavin, you still looking?
Motion.
Well, I'm still kind of wondering about the actual volume of water available since we don't have any data from neighboring wells yet.
Was there anything in the packet that you were seeing, Ken?
For well data?
Yeah.
No,
We haven't seen that, right?
correct.
Okay.
That's kind of one of the biggest things with
But Kevin, that can vary too. I
Sure,
mean, my well is, because I live down on Langley Shores, my well is 152 foot. My neighbor who lives right next door went down to 600 foot.
well, it depends on your well driller too, they get paid by the foot. So.
Thank you, okay?
That's true.
Yeah. You count the pipes on the, you gotta count the pipes on the truck when they come.
Right.
Yeah.
Before they start drilling.
It's funny you bring that up, I just ran into that issue.
It's
Somewhere
more
else.
common than it used to be.
Oh,
So
yeah.
next time you're drilling, call Leslie and find
Oh,
out
that's
if
what I
she
was,
used.
when the guy shows up with his car or pickup to drill the well and it's done, you're getting screwed. I mean, that would be based on Ken though, if he didn't have enough water out of the well,
Oh, for the sprinklers?
yeah.
There's two different methods with the sprinklers. One would be a variable speed pump and you use in the well for storage. The other is a standalone system where they have 300 gallons in a tank with a fire pump, which the last one in Liberty Lane was a standalone. The one before that was a combination with variable speed. So the water in the well would not be, I wouldn't look at that as a factor for the sprinklers, for the fire protection systems, because they can go standalone just as easy.
And they're very low flow, right?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, there's some volume to it, but the theory is you catch the fire early and you only
Yeah.
need a little bit of water. Most sprinkler companies do the standalones, they don't do the others because you've got to be a plumber and you're tying it into your plumbing system. So the plumbers seem to be doing that and it is more cost effective.
Is that like a battery powered or it's,
No,
so it's a grid, tied into the grid still?
correct.
So it's not really standalone.
So what are they using for a source?
Power goes out.
Cistern kind of deal? or-
Correct, yeah.
That's true.
How much?
300,
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember Harold.
yeah.
I don't have an issue with
They put that in the attic, do
I
they?
don't have an issue with
basement.
it at all.
On the
it.
basement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so,
And pressurize it to.
Well, if you have no power, then it's not going to work.
Oh.
But most people are doing standby generators anyway.
Seems like the power's gonna go out pretty quick. when you have a
Tie
fire.
it into your generator.
I mean, they're pretty cheap generators. I think it'd be crazy, if you're gonna build a new house, why wouldn't you just spend $2 or $3 grand for a generator? I mean, you don't have to light up, like it's Taj Mahal, but
Yeah.
I'd highly recommend it if I was selling a lot or building a house over there. If I was building the houses, that'd be part of the house.
Package.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if we're not sure about number 2, how about number 3? Can we deal with the monument in that one spot and then do iron posts down further?
So we said
That's
that,
all good, right?
that one corner, that's all good?
Hmm.
Okay.
Is there a
I move we
motion, is there a
accept that.
motion there then?
I make a motion, we accept the, I don't have the waiver in front of me to read it.
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
Oh, here, I can give you a copy. So it's,
10 to
there you go.
It's nice to make a motion if you know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I got it all written out there. so.
Okay, thank you.
2D.
And we're looking at,
That's the third
The
one.
last
yeah.
one.
okay, yeah, I make a motion that we grant a waiver accepting, according to the article, calling for 4 by 4 inch granite bounds. They're requesting that they set a 36 inch by 5/8 inch rebar instead, as it's written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments?
With a metal cap on top of the rebar.
No,
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the,
didn't write down.
Tom's GPS,
And GPS, with the GPS coordinates on it,
On the bound, yes. Yep.
yeah.
And the monuments
Absolutely.
are on all corners.
On the
Every-
monument.
on
On the
every
monument,
Oh, just the monument?
I
that's
thought
all
that's
you
what we
need.
were talking about earlier too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
got the, if you've got the GPS on the monument, that's all you need.
Well, it just might make it easier to find the pin in the future, I guess, if it was lost.
Well-
Because it's not a monument, it's just a pin.
But we're gonna go right back to, oh, you mean for the individual lot?
For the individual lots.
That-
I thought that's what we're talking about.
But that's all
I don't know.
surveyed in, so it'd be, at that point, you'd have bearing and distance, so you know, somebody could actually pull a tape
Right.
or
It's not a
some
big
transit.
lot.
Yeah, so,
Right.
so you would be able to find those, or a surveyor would, you know, that type of thing. But I think it's a good idea to have the GPS point out front with an elevation, and it kind of, you know, if someone else is doing a job, they get to utilize that, and it's good information.
Oh, here. All right then, any other comments before we vote?
So, just for clarity, lot 3.1 at the corner right here, right, would have the monument, and thereafter on the back corners of each lot?
Well, we would put pins on every
Rebar.
lot, yep.
And we can, your suggestion is that you'd like a waiver on the GPS numbers on each of those corners? Is that
No, the waiver
No.
was to use an iron pin in place of granite block.
Monument.
Yeah.
And are we waiving GPS,
No, we put that
We'll
in.
put that into here.
but not on these?
Right, that would just be on this
Just on the
one right
granite.
there.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay. All right then, all in favor? Good? All right, great. All right, back to number 2 before we quit. Are we gonna hold off on that one? Are we going to move for a waiver on this one? You guys tell me.
What is the item in particular?
It's the one that we're dealing with, we're wondering about the amount of water or how deep the wells are and the gallons per minute.
Just the general
The
hydrologic
hydrological,
assessment there.
it would be number 3 on page 17.
Mhm.
What do you think, Ken?
Usually the study's not to determine the wells or anything like that, it's to trace the nitrates and the flow of the
The
water,
way the water's flowing.
the way everything's flowing. And usually we're doing that with the poor soils or cluster subdivisions, conservation subdivisions. I don't, it could be overkill in this case. The lot's a good size enough, and then it's not the best land back here, and I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be open space. If there were more lots back through here, I would say, yeah, then we could look at the gradient of the water flowing underneath, but
Yeah.
I would think this is gonna end up being open space tied in back here, or at least, or this lot here may own it all or something, but I don't foresee this being housing.
No.
Or wells really would be the issue if somebody was having wells here to drink and that septic went down gradient through that way.
Right.
So I think it's, could be overkill.
Or actually, again, then I'm looking for a motion, or somebody tell me to move on to something new.
Change the channel.
I'm trying to shake our watchers.
Yeah.
Would the only concern be wells and septics, really, with this?
The only concern would be wells down in this area in the
So you
future.
don't think even like within these lots, having like some front, some back,
Well, there's only
based
one.
on,
Well, there's the lots across the street. What is the topography telling us about the flow from those lots? Is it it's going away from the road?
Yeah, that water gets diverted because it doesn't really come down through our property. Right where the corner of that Buzzell Road where the curve is, there is a cross culvert over there.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily shown in this plan, we have picked it up. And then, I think down by Lot 1, that's another area where that water crosses and on the opposite side, it goes down in between those properties over there, so. So
it
really,
does,
really
flow
diverts.
from the other side of the street toward your property.
Most of the lots are all flat.
It flattens
Yeah,
out,
it's flat on
but,
top.
Yeah, they're all flat lots on both
So there's not
sides.
a lot of runoff.
but you can see there is a
No.
ditch that runs all the way down Buzzell Road, and I think it contains that, runs it down and drops it down in
But both sides of the street are flat,
Yes,
essentially.
yeah.
yep,
So runoff shouldn't be a big problem
no.
at all.
And just because the road's there, that distance ourselves quite a bit from any kind of a leach field from the
Yeah.
other side. You see those houses are built back a little ways,
I would suggest that in place of a high-intensity soil survey, if Brad and Arnie could provide us some indication of yields of existing wells and then the, I don't know if the well of your own property being some distance away from this location would pertain anyway.
Would be on that one.
We've accepted
We've
that as-
accepted that one,
but he means number 2.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean where the record of Arnie's residence pertaining to the well may or may not be pertinent because of the distance away. that
Right,
is
he's
from-
quite a bit down the hill too.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But these would be,
Yeah, across the street, I think from Maine Geological Survey, you'd probably be able to obtain, my guess is, half of those, because they're all relatively new.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be glad to provide a list of those and.
Just to give us some sense, Brad, of, you know,
Yep.
the availability there, and that we're not,
And I think they'll probably give me depth of well, gallons per minute that when they
Static
drilled it,
level.
and static. You think that I'd get those 3 pieces of
Will
information?
that be recorded somewhere? It's recorded somewhere.
Yeah, there's a website, so we can go on. They're not always, some of the older wells may or may not be on there, so.
We've accepted in the past too, or the board has, a letter from a well driller saying that he's familiar with the area, he's done it, and he can achieve water on those wells.
Yeah, that's what we did for Nason. We
Yeah.
were looking at the one.
Right.
So we could grant the waiver with that condition?
That's something you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, yep.
so then is there a motion to that being,
Do that for me.
I make a motion that if the applicants provide us with the information that illustrates adequate water supply adjacent to the proposed subdivision on the east side of Buzzell Road, that would provide adequate assurance to the board that there is indeed adequate water supply for the proposal.
A second?
and that would then say that you would be granting the waiver.
Correct.
With the condition that you receive that
Yeah.
information,
Okay.
yeah. Full.
That's
So-
fine.
So Yoli has a second? Comments before we vote? All in favor? Okay, 5-1, so we're good. All right, so the three waivers have been approved, one with a condition, but not a big one, I don't think.
Nope, not a problem.
Anything else that we need to cover tonight?
Do we want to set a public hearing for the 19th? We're doing the site walk on the 10th. No meeting on the 5th. That'll give us enough time to notice.
Anybody have a problem with the 19th as a public hearing? You guys go do the 19th?
I think that's fine with me, yeah, Thursday, yeah.
So we'd have it before this meeting, at 7 o'clock, and then we would then go into our meeting afterwards,
So it's 7 on the 19th.
7 o'clock, yeah.
7 o'clock. Right.
Perfect.
You don't want to proceed, I mean, is that what you?
Well, yes, what I mean, it'll proceed, but it'll be, our meeting's normally starting at 7, so that's all, I was just trying to give them a heads up. What it would be. That's all.
Brenda will call you with the total for a check. I
Yeah.
don't think we made it that far, so she'll put it together and figure out what it is and
What's that for?
the subdivision.
Okay. How much you paying me? Do I get a lot of money?
Right?
And I'll be at the site walk in case you have any questions. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely,
Makes it easier, all plans or whatever.
absolutely. You got a golf cart to ride around?
Yes, we're all set.
Oh, we need to have the back of the lots marked at all for the,
Yeah, they're all marked
They're all
up.
okay, so
staked
the
out.
back and the center line of the driveway. Anything else we'd want?
I think
Once
that should do
again,
it.
I did all the lot lines, just
Yeah.
to save all the trees in between, so.
Bring the Ruth in.
Anybody else have a question before we move on? All right, guys,
I'm
thank
good.
you.
I do have
Appreciate it.
four
Thank
wheelers,
you
if you
very
really
much.
want them there, I could have them there.
I'm kidding.
Just so you know, I bought them just for me and my grandkids to ride around the field, so. All right, great. Okay, thanks a lot, appreciate it. Nice seeing everybody.
Let's give you those.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah,
Updated for you.
thanks a lot.
Like to see you still on your feet.
And that
Oh, man.
There's your point
Long
up.
road. Okay, thanks, appreciate it. Have a great night.
All right, thank you.
Good night, Arnie.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we are moving forward. I think we're on the page I'm on here. Okay. And I guess we're not doing too much, nothing going on with the campground. Do you have any comments to make about that campground?
We're still waiting for the final plan.
Okay.
Site walk, I think, was very informative.
Yeah, those ticks on the lot.
Those ticks are on the run for us, that's for sure. But the black flies weren't bad, mosquitoes weren't bad.
No, they're afraid of the ticks.
Yeah.
You had some discussion about the possibility of having a workshop with Dan and Jane. You think that's a reasonable thing? To get them kind of more online as to what they need to do, or?
We can go through, when we get the final plan, and maybe that's why they didn't come tonight, is they're still waiting for that final revision and clean that up a little bit.
You had tasked them with some things yesterday too, that.
Well, there was just a few missing on that last plan. The
Mhm.
simple stuff was, so.
I know he was busily,
Keeping notes.
jotting things down.
I don't know if his notes were as good as yours, but,
Yeah, it's impressive.
That's all right. So at this point, we're not gonna worry about that part. We'll see what we get between now and the next time we meet, which is really in a month from now, so a lot could happen between now and then.
So it does go to the fire department for their input in it.
yep,
On that.
selectmen.
Yeah,
fire
and
department.
selectmen,
I think we're
fire
supposed to notify the school too as well, but I don't see that.
How about the road commissioner?
Yeah, they'll get a notification on that one too as well. They've already been informed on probably both of these projects as well, so.
Okay. All right then, let's move to new business, best practical location, the early side of West Shore Drive, 604.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I forgot, time out. I'm gonna back up to old business, I missed it. The proposed amendments, the zoning ordinance, and I know you're asking for,
I just,
put it in the minutes, the
I just
fact
want it
that
for the
each of the, do you want to go through them? one by
No.
one? So each of the 5 proposed amendments to our zoning ordinance were easily passed at the town meeting last week. I mean, there was really one question, I believe, for all 5 changes.
I thought toward the end, people were snoring. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
It was
That way we
awfully
couldn't
good
hear
that,
well, right?
it was awfully good that they came up early.
Yeah, probably right. All right, good?
Thank you.
Okay, now we move on to new business, best practical location for Ann Riley. So
Is
the
this the-
604 after the culvert?
Yes.
Right after it, right?
The first
Was
house?
that the Ann Herson's house?
A little bass.
Before
So
or
there's the
after,
culvert
or?
right there, there's, or as you're going through it, this has the little pond across the street,
Yeah, yeah.
so that's it right there.
Oh, okay.
So that's, what's that counting down from the thing, what's that, about 8 down?
From the culvert,
From the
8 up.
culvert, 8 up,
Yeah, so currently they have 2 houses on the property.
18, I gotta check this out.
Are they gonna compile them?
Yes. Yeah, we
They
put
do
them back.
30% on each one and then compiling?
Yeah, I think the lot coverage is going to be a little less
Slightly.
restrictive for them.
Yeah. Right.
Does it say the
Oh,
size of that lot?
17,800 square feet, almost
Yeah.
18. So it's not quite half an acre.
And frontage is 100-foot frontage?
Blue dashed line was 100 feet.
Start all the same after
We're good.
So that's, the shoreline is fairly well, not so much eroded, but beat.
all. Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
looking at getting rid of both of these cabins.
Are those 2 separate ones right there, or are we, is that
Yes.
front part an attachment? Oh, I see, now.
That is one cabin.
Yeah. With a,
This is no longer there.
Oh, I see.
This is the back of it, this is the cabin on the right, so you can't see the cabin on the left. It looks very similar. They did a major renovation to the cabin on the left 2 years ago, maybe, year and a half.
Oh,
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and that's the cabin on the left right there. At that time, my personal opinion was don't dump any money into these, just enjoy them as they are, and when you're ready, get rid of both of them and combine them, because it's a family compound, so you got multiple different relatives and things like that, so. Currently, it's a little over 9 feet, 9 foot, 1 inch, and the new relocation would be 53. They've got a CMP power line behind them as their major restriction.
do they own the property across the street?
They do, and the septic system's going over here, and they're looking at horizontal boring, boring a hole from here and popping up over here so they don't dig up the road. That was our encouragement versus, once you dig that road up, you'll always have that bump there, never mind it's being bonded and stuff, so hopefully they'll take that advice and run with that, the horizontal boring as well.
Kenny, blue dashed line is
100 feet. Yeah.
And the other one?
CMP line right here, so that's going to be the CMP right away there and the CMP right away there.
And across
And-
the street.
It's across the street, that one behind.
We've got,
It's mostly the
Is
pond.
that 50 feet
Is
in
that
the
where
center
the
of the road?
pond is?
yes,
Within
there's
the
a pond
pond?
there.
Because there's a pond in there.
You can see it on there, it's just not blue.
Oh, yeah, I see.
It's got a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is.
We,
So that's what it's the water that comes from that shore. And that tree up there.
That's,
it's a shoreline zone line, so that's 250 from out in here.
So it's not white, it's gray. The house that you had pictures of it there was white, this is gray. You got the right place?
Oh, the
That
old
was
one.
the renovation.
Gotcha. Put siding on or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the old one, that's the way it looks today.
Yeah.
That's there's two of them, Bob, that's the more, there's two houses. The gray one is the, white one is
all
the,
these
One-
colors
you'll
of
see
them-
what you,
Okay, all right.
all the time,
Gotcha.
more and more. I think that's the best part.
So that's the other one. Okay, here's the other side of that one. Looking down
So once they get the two houses going, revegetate that whole front area and build, they'll be 53 feet from the
From the shoreline.
shoreline, and they've got a large erosion problem that comes right down the driveway, right between the two camps and goes right through. They did a little barrier work or something when we were out there last year, and what it needs is the house put in there. That'll stop it and revegetate that whole area. That'll be a big difference.
Did you guys see these pictures over there?
Yeah.
so the driveway will be the same, will they have a garage as part of the new?
On the plan, I don't think there was a garage on the plan.
So is the driveway,
Ken, on the work that they did several years ago, was there any enlarging of the footprint? Did they use any of their 30%?
It might have been a deck over the front roof. So the footprint wasn't enlarged, but they may have used some of their 30%.
So that would pertain to your determination this time around, right?
Well, they're gonna take it down and move it back. So,
They wouldn't get, they put a deck up over this roof, I think, is how that was.
okay, on the second story.
So they wouldn't get to use, it goes back to 1989, what was there in 1989, you get 30% of that. This had to go away because there wasn't a permit for it. So
But,
they-
but even if there has been an increase in the 30% rules since 1989, they wouldn't have to take that into account and get less this time?
The easiest way is to go back to 1989, so you get 30% of what it was, because it's all going into a dumpster. If they were doing an addition, you would say, yes, in 1993, you used 100 square feet, and
Oh.
98, you used another 100, that you have 100 left. But where it's all going into the dumpster, we always go back to the 1989 number, then we don't have to look at what was used, what was added without permits or any of that. We just go back, and we've got great assessment cards for that time, so it works out good. And during the revegetation, we'll get rid of all this type of stuff too out there. and get it
Is this still to be a summer home?
I believe so, because it's multiple families involved.
But if they do put the house there, I can tell you from going by all those houses, that really, the way that shoreline is just crumbling,
Yeah.
without that runoff, that's gonna make a great big difference.
Ideally, you get rid of the camps, they're gonna have to put the well down here, they'll make a road kind of to get that. At that time, I would almost, because it's easy to spend their money,
Yeah.
rip wrap the shoreline, restart the shoreline, and then just work your way right out. Do the foundation, do
Yeah.
the house, and
But even with culverts, sometimes water's coming down, because it comes off the hill
yeah,
behind.
yeah, it comes right down
And it
into
can
it.
come down,
What about the trees?
The area they were proposed, there really wasn't very many trees to be cut. I think there was one or two maybe. These all stay.
Okay, new septic is across the street.
Correct.
Horizontal boring or something. That's gonna go under there.
that's gonna be interesting.
Just don't drag over it, Joyce, while it's going.
I'm gonna be going to your house and taking the ferry with you to get out.
The whole lake just goes shh.
It does that anyway in August.
All right, so then, anybody have any problems with this?
I have no problem.
I mean, we're gonna gain quite a bit as far as being away from the lake, and all the typical stormwater mitigation will come into play here as we go forward, if in fact this gets approved, right?
Yes.
You have already talked to them about the
Yep.
fact that they're,
We've actually got a local residents working with York County Water and Soil now, and so that was our biggest fallout. They didn't have a really good resource for a lot of stuff, so they were using different outfits, and we've got another local person working with York County Water and Soil, so we're getting turnarounds on the plans much faster. They're much more detailed plans. It's specking out the species, even with a price list on it too, so that helps out quite a bit. Yeah.
Yes.
What about driveway or parking here?
Same driveway, and basically the house is going to be where their car is, so the driveway where they're parking now, just, they're going to have less of it.
And this is one of the houses where you see cars, driveway, whatever you want to call it, I won't
Yeah.
call it lawn.
Yeah.
You know, they just,
Probably they'll have to park
Island.
across the street.
God no. We don't want anybody parking across the street, on either side of the street.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we accept Kenny's recommendation.
We don't say that.
Oh,
Say that. I don't want to say that.
Why don't we say that?
You're
can
bouncing
approve the
back
app-
on
Does he
it.
make a recommendation?
Because he's not, he can't make a recommendation.
53 feet.
Just approve the application.
Just approve. the
Okay,
application.
all right.
rethink now what you said.
Yeah. I don't like change. Okay, all right, I'll make a motion, we approve the application and moving the house back 53 feet from the lake.
Second.
Comments?
Who's second?
I don't know.
Who's the
There was a couple,
Leslie's.
who was it?
There were a
Tom? I had
couple.
two down.
I heard Tom.
Comments, questions? All those in favor? Okay, all right, moving on.
We can do this
Further
sometime
down the
in
road.
water.
We're now at
Ease 'em down,
1268
ease 'em
West Shore
down.
Drive.
Oh, yeah.
I'll switch pictures with you.
Oh, yeah, I still have pictures of you. There you go.
Mhm.
All right, so, show me on the map where this one is.
You're gonna knock this down.
Wait, this is coming down.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They
It's,
always do that.
it's, yeah,
It's dark in there.
uh-huh.
Kenny, this thing
Hold
looks
on.
like it's not 10 years old.
It's gotta be 20 at least,
Wow.
or all violations.
So this must be, is this high up?
As far
Is
as
this
the
where the
end is.
hill is?
There's the
Part-
island right there.
Yeah, I know, but there's a bunch of islands.
Yeah, no, it's not the highest point. It,
Well,
well, if you come back from,
see that. This gives you a relationship.
Berlin is almost at the top of the hill, and I
There's the
think
end
it's
right there.
24.
Photographer's back too.
Yeah.
So they want to tear this down?
All right, so we're reasonably close to the
To-
water height-wise on this
On this
lot.
one?
Yeah, okay. Because over that way somewhere, I know the places go way
According
up.
to the picture.
Yeah, this one is
Thank you.
down.
So 26, I'm not gonna see what the heck this is.
So there's the end of the road right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So it comes up that height and then drops down a little bit right there. I was trying to find Scott Matthews.
yeah, that's always the focus.
yeah.
I think he's the point
That's the
right
point of
there.
reference.
Which one you point to? 31?
Yeah, yeah, so halfway between him and the end of the road.
Okay, go to 24, if you would,
It's
please.
a good illustration of the woman.
Is that
Yeah,
Berlin?
oh,
It's
okay.
low tide.
Yeah.
Is that Berlin?
Who wouldn't, sorry, I didn't mean to- Henry, that's straight off the cliff down there.
Yeah,
Oh, that one
no,
We'd be looking at.
no, there, yeah.
there? Yeah, yeah. Off to- to over there. See, there's that building.
Oh, you don't have me?
Oh, they're
So
just
this
not
is
it.
kind of behind that.
I think you're right.
Section.
Me? No, I'm after 12.
Doesn't fit in
Yeah.
the lot or something.
That's Miller, that's me.
What's he proposed to do?
Garage, I think.
Demo existing structure and rebuild.
Where? It's a postage stamp.
It's-
So how far back can we move it?
Oh,
Down.
Location.
79 and a half feet is what they were going from 11-2. Driveway gets removed here, and they're going to try to relocate it and come in from above with a bi-level, I believe is what they were talking.
Oh, they're taking out the old driveway, the pavement?
Down into this area here.
Steep in there?
just a little.
Do you guys have the pictures, have you seen them? Or do I have the only ones?
You have three?
There's 3 of them, I think.
Three
you got.
pictures, do you have them?
3. I have about 7.
Oh, wow, you have more than we do.
Well, we saw half.
Okay, let's see. Have you seen the ones that deal with the land, without the house?
No.
We just saw the house.
All right, we'll pass those around.
Well done.
What's a bi-level?
They're coming in from above and below.
Above?
Mm.
The back side probably coming in like on the second floor,
Oh, okay.
and then the front side coming in on the front.
Oh, bi-level house. I thought you meant bi-level room.
So it looks to me like the proposed lot is the same size as same footprint as the original one.
That is, our job is to relocate the original house.
Uh-huh.
So they're going to have something that fits in that whole area in there.
Okay.
So my first question was to the DEP, because they took the existing house and moved it back as far as they could. So my question was, are we supposed to rotate this and shove it all the way over into the corner and find the best number? And the state said, there's really no guidance to it, you just use, relatively common sense. Are you talking 5 feet from the water and now you can get 12 or 13? And in this case, we're at 11 and we're going to 79, almost 80 feet.
Where's the electric there?
I think it's up at the street at that point.
Because it's not too many where
Oh,
they
utility
are.
easement right there. That's why I
Yeah.
painted it black. Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's our utility
That's our
easement.
limit.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, they don't necessarily have to do the letter L in their,
No, it's gonna be something that square in the back and then jogs, maintaining the 79 and a half feet away from the water.
okay.
Oh, so into that little pie shape because of the easement.
And is the shed to remain?
There's an X in it actually, so.
And that becomes part of the 30%?
This blue line is the 100-foot line, so a lot of the house is going to be out of it and there'll be some within it.
So they could build something significantly bigger in the back half.
Well, yeah. But they've got quite a grade in the back, I think, don't they?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's all steep uphill.
It's very steep uphill.
But they're going to build into the back, and
Into
that's
the
why
back.
they would come from above
Yeah.
into it.
Well, that's
So
my house.
they've got very little sketches done, and they're just waiting for approval before they can go. Architect engineers, this one here is going to be much more complex, I would assume, with the grade from the hill out there.
Mm-hmm. Where's their septic now?
I think the septic is right down by the camp.
Use it for the septic.
We did that one.
Wonder if it's over in here.
So we can't get it behind the 100-foot line
Well, that was my thought with this.
with the pink, right?
Yeah, if I spun it and shoved it over, but the grade is really, really tough over in that corner there. This is the more of a desirable area. And when I was talking with the DEP, and we're at 80 feet, of course, you're not trying to gain every inch at that, like we were at 11 feet to start.
Sure.
It's a significant difference, Of course, it's going to be a significant house there as well, too.
But with their proposal, they are gonna have a shorter driveway, right? So it'd be more direct access to the house.
Yeah,
There'd be less pavement.
Did
Yeah.
you
Say
say,
that.
did you say earlier that that paved driveway is going to disappear?
a lot of it right about into this area here, this larger fanned area was disappearing.
Should we come up with a number of square feet that's gonna disappear from the pavement, or?
I don't see where the existing septic is, but it's gotta be right by that house.
We could have another one go over the horizontal.
It doesn't go anywhere near the house.
It's not going across the road, they don't own across the road.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
He's probably standing on the pavement, taking this picture here.
See, already the shed, the last picture, is like 6 feet higher than the house is.
All up the hill, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
See already?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
Yeah,
looks
that's
like-
just cut out there.
yeah. I mean, I don't know when it was done. The one thing that he does have there is, he actually has a beach, which not many of us do.
So they'd have to revegetate in the original footprint.
Mm-hmm.
Again, are we moving back, are we impacting trees again?
Yeah, there's a few in there that are gonna have to be removed.
And then do they have to replace those by points, right?
Right, in a best practical location, it's a 1-to-1 ratio we can drop down to. And a lot of the trees are gonna be outside of 100 feet, because a lot of the house is outside of 100 feet. At that point, they can do 40% of the trees that are there, or 40% of the diameter, so.
The shed does disappear,
There was an
so no
access
shed
shed.
should ever be on that lot again, right?
I don't think
Unless it's
much
out
need
by the
it.
road.
It would be,
But we didn't find the septic.
I probably have a recorded septic plan for them, but more than likely that septic is, I don't think it's a pump system out there, but it's probably either here or right down in this area right there.
All right, what do you think? We good with getting, what am I thinking, we're getting almost 70 feet, maybe 68 feet away from the water.
I move we accept Kenny's recommendation.
He doesn't do change. No closer than 79.5 feet, if that's what 5 means.
I wouldn't mind putting some sort of number on the driveway and pervious surface.
I think that's probably a good idea too, Gavin.
Yeah.
Not that it has to be crazy numbers, just
Yeah.
something to put down. What are the dimensions of the house existing? It's like 30 by 20 or something? So it's about 600.
The house location, the old house, automatically gets revegetated.
I'm just wondering
Right.
about the size.
The
so I
size
could-
of it, though.
So I could just compare that to the driveway in my head. It looks like if we asked them to do something like moving about 500 square feet or something.
20
But
by
I'm just
40
pulling that
roughly.
out.
That they want to take off?
Yeah.
I want to take off
They're proposing they take off 20 by 40
on the
on
driveway.
the driveway.
Well, that sounds pretty good then.
That sounds reasonable, doesn't it?
Revegetate.
To revegetate.
For sure. Is there access there to the water from that, where they're gonna be launching?
No, I don't think so.
No?
Really, it kind of looked like I could drive down there. It's kind of hard to tell what's on the right of the picture.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought it was all kind of walls all the way around, kind of
There's a wall here.
common walls.
And there's a wall
I don't know if it's
right
a
around
maneuver.
there,
You might be
yeah.
able to maneuver, I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no.
Comes right through the culvert.
So we are in agreement that we're going to put down a number like about 20 by 40, what's that? 800
800
square feet?
square feet.
The driveway to be removed?
Yeah. That works.
So then is there a motion with that? Oh yeah, Tom, you started a motion.
We
sorry.
had, somebody started a motion.
So we changed it. We're going to remove 800 square feet of driveway.
I move we accept Kenny's recommendation.
No,
Express my bit.
he's trying.
And with the condition,
With the condition that 800 or 900?
800 square feet.
800 square feet of driveway area is removed and revegetated.
Do we need to say what area of driveway? Just, you know,
From the bottom up.
from the bottom up.
closest to the water,
To the lakeside.
from the lakeside, yeah.
Yeah. From the bottom.
Second, by the way?
Second.
Okay, Joyce. And comments again before we vote? All in favor? Okay, we're good, 5-0. All right, code enforcement.
Past his bedtime.
He's already made that comment. He's already packing up.
We have a local planning board, zoning board workshop, July 26th in Portland. If anybody's interested, let Brendan know. There's some November dates too, September, but they're Northport, Farmington, Ashland. So the closest one was Portland, July 26th. Did you just have a public hearing for that thing? Or is that a Friday?
No.
19.
And you're paying for dinner and lunch for those guys that go?
Yeah.
Did you say
All right, anything else, anybody?
26th, so it's a week after our meeting.
Yeah.
Is there then a motion to adjourn?
Please.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Oh,
Thanks, Virginia.
thank you.